Good morning. I'm all in black today, mourning the killing of my friend Omar, who I considered my little brother, who was shot and killed by Israeli soldiers yesterday while invading his home and trying to kidnap his brother. Omar grew up in a refugee camp in the West Bank, so Israel is the reason this Palestinian boy and millions of others are living in refugee camps, and yet they don't leave them alone. They insist on destroying their lives by attacking their homes, arresting and killing them. Omar's home is like the rest of our homes, was invaded by Israeli forces many times. He was arrested and put in jail for more than a year for reasons such as throwing stones at the soldiers. Throwing stones is a defense mechanism that's used by Palestinians against Israeli fully armed soldiers who think that they had the right to invade our villages, camps and cities, raid our homes and kidnap our friends and relatives. Most of us think of home as a place of safety. As night falls, we shut the door and gather inside with our family, safe in the knowledge that we are protected from the outside world within our walls. The knowledge that when our door is closed, no one can invade our private space without our permission enables the peace of mind and comfort we feel at home. Imagine sleeping at night at your home, sleeping comfortably, quietly, safely, when all of a sudden you open your eyes on a clash right inside your home and see a number of armed soldiers wearing their helmets, carrying their M16 guns, attacking your family members and invading your home, your safe home. Shouting, screaming at everyone, breaking the furniture, destroying things around you, blindfold your father's and brother's eyes, tie their hands tightly behind their backs, and hit them all in front of your eyes. And what if you're a child? You start screaming and crying. As a child, you don't know what's happening. You are merely a frightened child, and the last thing you want to see is your family getting harmed. For you, the symbol of safety and security is being shaken. Those soldiers don't care about you crying or begging not to take your father away. As a child, you wouldn't know where they would take your father. All you know is that he's going to be absent for a long time. Palestinians living under occupation in the West Bank, however, are constantly exposed to arbitrary invasions of their homes by Israeli forces. This is part of the parcel at the routine of occupation and the system of control over Palestinian population. Almost every night, armed Israeli soldiers raid homes, wake women, men, and children, and carry out different actions inside the homes of Palestinian residents. According to UN figures, these invasions occur more than 200 times each month. Beyond the harm suffered by individuals and families as a result of the invasions, this practice effectively serves as a mean to oppress and intimidate the Palestinian population and increase control over it. An Israeli report was published last year by 3 Israeli human rights organizations, Physicians for Human Rights Israel, Yadin, and Breaking the Silence. The report was based on 3 years of research involving 158 interviewers of Palestinians who experienced home invasions, as well as more than 40 soldiers who carried them out. According to the study, Israeli forces conducted raids on Palestinian homes to search for money, weapons, or other items, to make arrests, to scoop out the physical features of the house and the identity of its occupants. But while the military claimed these raids were for security reasons, the authors of the report concluded that they were used for most as a tool of creating deterrence and intimidation to increase military control over the population. Soldiers invade Palestinian homes all the time. They do so to take up new strategic positions, to carry out random searches, and in many cases, to simply make their presence felt. Sometimes soldiers invade homes in the middle of the night just for training purposes. One former soldier who gave testimony to breaking the silence, saying he, along with other soldiers, raided homes in Jenin simply to grab more optimal observation positions. Or they would invade homes to test a new door-breaching device. Another witness said they went into a Palestinian home to be filmed eating Hanukkah donuts for a feel-good news story to be broadcasted that night on Israeli television. According to the study, arbitrary home invasions by Israeli forces are causing significant psychological damage to Palestinians in the West Bank. Around 90% of the home invasions documented began between midnight and 5 a.m. 65 of the families say their homes were raided more than once. My family's house has been raided more than 5 times in the past years, especially during the Intifada. As a child, I grew up on home raids every few nights, losing any sense of safety and security. They would shout at us, point their guns at us, break the furniture, tied up my father's hands, and blindfold his eyes. Last time they invaded my family's house, my brother was beaten up and arrested. In 1/4 of the cases, doors are forced open or broken. The average duration of an invasion is about 80 minutes. 3/4 of the homes were invaded by 10 or more soldiers, at times up to 30. Israeli soldiers do not present family members any document or warrant to explain why they're invading their private domain or who approved the invasion, because Israeli's military law does not demand soldiers to do so. In about 1/4 of the documented cases, soldiers use physical force or violence or threats. 1/3 of the victims say soldiers pointed firearms at their heads or bodies. These raids are not regulated by any rules or laws, which make any Palestinian home in the West Bank a legitimate target. The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, a treaty adopted by the United Nations General Assembly, prohibits arbitrary interference of the state with the right to privacy. It says, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary or unlawful interference with his privacy, family's home, or correspondence, nor to unlawful attacks on his honor and reputation. So why is it okay for Israel to do this to Palestinians? Imagine this all happened to you and to your children. What would you do?